over here. Well, thanks, Scott. Yeah, Scott was one of the first to come aboard with us. We're coming up on our first year, finishing up with the NWAC. We've raised over $150,000, so we're, aggregate, we're in about a third of the schools right now, so we feel very fortunate, and so far things have worked out really well. I'm not going to go through a full presentation on our service. I'm just going to kind of go over an overview. I know there's a lot of people who haven't seen us, what we do, so I will give you a kind of overview. If you're interested in taking the next step, you can contact me. I'll have where you can text me and I can reach out to you at the end. So, with further ado, on the next slide. So, just a couple of case studies. So, in addition to Columbia Basin, Clark with Chris over there, they came aboard last year. They had all but 2 of their sports come on board. The other 2, after seeing what happened this fall, have come on board. As you can see here, they average about $74 donation. Per donation, 88% participation. So because it's very easy for the athletes to participate, that's one thing you'll get over a letter writing campaign. And they raised almost as much as Columbia Basin, a little bit less. They raised over $34,000. And as I said, now we're going to be working with all their programs. So I feel very fortunate to be able to work with them. So next slide, yeah, going to Columbia Basin. They did really well, but wanted to highlight baseball. Baseball did really well. They had 90% participation. They averaged $320 per student athlete. And that's about our national average. It's between $300 and $320 across all sports. They averaged over $73 per donation, and their program ranged over $12,600 last year with us. And that's how much they took home after our fee. And we raised over $35,000 with them. So the reason, hold on a second. So part of the reason, go to the next slide. So when we got started with them, for you coaches that are in the state of Washington, some of the foundations, they had some issues with working with our company, and one of the issues was we were not licensed with the Attorney General. We are now. We actually were legally able to do it because, I'll go in a second, we have 2 companies. We have the software company that I work for, and then we have a nonprofit partner, which is a national nonprofit, so it covers the whole country, but they needed specifically to be sitting in the state of Washington. So for your schools that are in the state of Washington now, we're on here. So this will be a big, this will eliminate the foundation from one of their big reasons not to work with us.
David, how's that with Oregon?
Oregon's fine. All the rest of the country's fine. Washington just has, what we found, and it's interesting because we work with high schools as well, so in the state of Washington they have very persnickety specific rules that in terms of fundraising, where the money goes, how it comes in, how it goes out, and we found that at the high school level as well. So we've been able to kind of get over those hurdles. And because of the way our system is set up, and it's IRS compliant, and I'll go over that, we've been able to overcome all those hurdles, and now we have a green light to go ahead and go to Washington. So our solution, click one more time, please. Yep. So we have a 3x3 system. So one thing that we focus in as a company is we're really very detail oriented in how we do things. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing things. We're the only company that has this 3x3 process. As you see here, we're going to reach out 3 ways. We're going to reach out through email, social media, and texting. And so really what our system is, it's the next generation of a letter writing campaign. So for your athletic programs, if you're using a letter writing campaign, this is an upgrade to it. It's a lot more powerful. It takes 95% of the work off of your plate. And the nice thing is what Scott said, is that you can run it again easily without any work. So that's why it produces much more revenue, which is what we're able to do. If you look in the center here, we're going to produce a lot of sponsors, as you can imagine. Now, one of the strengths of our system is the ability for every person who sponsors online to become a fundraiser themselves. So, for example, if I get $400 towards your particular program as a sponsor, once I complete that transaction, I can reach out 5 ways as a sponsor to people I know and spread the word and create a viral campaign. As an example, I had a baseball program a couple months ago. It was a junior college baseball program that their largest sponsorship was sponsored by a coach who was not on the original list. What happened was one of the student athletes put down one of his previous coaches, and with student athletes, they kind of forget that they actually had co-coaches. So he put it to one coach who forwarded it on to the second coach, and then the second coach gave him $550, which ended up being the largest sponsorship in that whole campaign. So without the forwarding option, that would have never happened. Now, a unique thing we do is in this crowdfunding space. We fall under crowdfunding. All crowdfunding companies, you probably know about GoFundMe and things like that, they take sponsorships online. But we also accept checks and phone calls. And that's really important in terms of raising your revenue, because not everybody's comfortable sponsoring online. For example, grandparents of your student athletes are not comfortable. And I'll give a great example. I don't know if you know about baseball, but the manager of the Cleveland Indians, his name is Terry Francona. He was also manager of the Red Sox, famous. His great-grandson plays baseball in Ohio. And he sponsored through our system 2 years running, and both times he did it via phone. So he left a phone message with our people, and at first we didn't believe it because we thought somebody was playing a joke. It was like, well, Terry Francona, why would he leave his cell phone number? He's a famous person, right? But it turned out it really was him, and he sponsored. So you have to ask the question, if we only offered up an online service, would he have sponsored or not? Because he's very old-fashioned from what I hear, and so he may not have been comfortable sponsoring online. So that's why we offer those two options, and about 75% of our sponsorships do come from online, okay? So a little bit about us. We're down in the San Francisco Bay Area. We were founded by 4 football coaches. And that's significant because our system's very user-friendly. It's easy to use because it was designed by coaches for coaches. In terms of what we've done as developers, we started off, we had 2 developers working and developing our system. In the last year, we've added on 3 more, so we have 5 more. So one thing with our system, when you use it, every single year, it's going to get better. And the way we get better actually is from you, by giving us feedback, saying we like this, we don't like this, and then we bring it back and we fix it and try to be able to deal with that. One example is we have a mobile app that we use to put the information in. We used to have that. We eliminated that with the phone because some of the kids had problems with the mobile app, and now they still can use their phone, but they don't have to use the mobile app anymore. In terms of a team concept, this is unique in crowdfunding in that we have a team of people. Scott mentioning, he's actually working with one of my colleagues who does my renewals for us. So we have a number of people who will be looking at your campaign to make sure that you get the most out of it and be able to do that. So that's one thing we excel at in terms of doing that. In terms of our partnerships.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. In addition to the NWAC, as I mentioned, we're finishing up our first year with them. We're also the official fundraising partner of the NAIA, where we finished up our first year and raised over $1 million with them. The NJCAA, where we completed 2 seasons with them, raised over $3.5 million with them. And where we started here in California, obviously the CCCA, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with some of the programs down there. There's 109 community colleges back where we are, 90 of them use ETeam Sponsor, and we've been their official fundraising partner since 2013. Okay, thanks. So how our system works. So there's going to be, as I mentioned on the slide, there's 3 ways to ask. You're going to go through email, social media, and text. We really want to emphasize that you encourage your athletes to use all 3. Email is still the most powerful tool. It brings in about 75 to 80% of the sponsorships. This is an example of a letter. Now, for your coaches that don't like writing, you don't have to do any writing. Basically, this is what we do to set up the letter is we ask you for information. We put it in the system writes a letter for you. We can completely customize it. So if you have a letter you're using and you're using it through regular mail, we can just make it electronic and move on there. In terms of details, in terms of the success, if you notice at the top it says Dear Sponsor, but it's going to have like Dear Grandma, it's going to have every sponsor's put in has a relationship type associated with it so that it's personalized. So our letters are very personalized. And the key to our success is when we send out those emails, it goes through the email address of the particular person who has the relationship with the potential donor. So it will go out through your student athletes. If you run a coach's campaign, it will go out through the coach's email as well. And that's one of the details, and that's why we have such a high success rate, because the person perceiving it will not perceive it as spam. They're going to perceive it as something coming from somebody they know. Okay. Also, we have the mobile app, the mobile phone now, so that's another way to sponsor. And then we have through social media, and then we have texting. Texting is interesting because it's becoming much, much more accepted. I had a junior college baseball program in Oklahoma last year that raised $15,000, and 80% of their sponsorships were gone through text. Now that's an anomaly, but it shows that text is becoming more and more powerful. Okay. So a little bit more about how our system works. Again, there's just 3 different ways to ask. This is what it looks like online. This is our 501c3 nonprofit partners website. It's called eSponsor Now. Our system, you go on there, you pick and choose whatever you want. There's no minimums. In terms of software security, we're very, very secure in terms of what we do. The first thing is that we have the same level of software encryption as an online bank. So if you guys do online banking in your personal life, you'll like using us because it's very similar. And then another thing we do is we do not store credit card information. So when someone sponsors and they complete that sponsorship, once that's approved, it's deleted from the system. We don't store it. So if you guys remember what happened with Target 4 years ago, things like that can happen. It's not happened with us. And also with all the sponsor emails you provide us, we have a privacy policy which states that we will not sell or share or contact anyone for any other reason besides your campaign. So security is very important to us, and our system is very secure. And as I mentioned before, we have the check and the phone and hitting out through online. So go to the next slide. Okay. So step 1 is to create a campaign. And like I said, we will do that for you. That's where our customer service comes in. You provide us the information. We set up kind of a letter draft. We spend about 10 minutes online with you. We review it, and then you make the changes, and boom, we're done. And then what you do is, on the left here, that's actually a campaign page. So we have the campaign page where each team will shoot their own video. It's as simple as taking a smartphone and turning it sideways. We have a simple script. It's easy to do. You submit it, we put it on there, and we're able to do it. And then in terms of participation, in the center there, it's easy as them going on their cell phone. Every athlete's going to have their own login. Every coach is going to have their own login. And it takes about 10 or 15 minutes per player to put all their information in the system. So it's an easy 2-step process. You hand out a sheet, they collect back all their sponsors, and then you put everything in. And then when we have all our statistics so that you can follow along, again, it's very easy to manage for you as well in terms of doing it. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay. So, yeah, so, we feel very fortunate. We've been in business since 2010, really started around 2011. We've raised over $33 million. We've been successful everywhere in the country, as you can see. And, we really feel fortunate to be working with the NWAC. Go to the next one. And basically, that is it. That's my office line, but it accepts texts. If you're interested in learning a little more details, feel free to contact me, and we can go forward from there. It just takes a matter of days to set things up, so even if you're a fall sport and you're getting started this fall, we can get you going right away. That's pretty much it for me. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to ask? Okay.
What percentage?
Oh, good question. I did not have that on there. Okay. Yes. So we start off for the first program, it's 75%. You keep 75%. But if you have multiple programs on campus, it goes up 1% and it caps at 80%. So, for example, Clark is at 80%. Columbia Basin's at 80%. A lot of them are on 80% if we have multiple programs. So you get 80% of the funds, and there's no other charges. We take care of all the fees, the processing fees, and all those things in terms of doing it. Okay.
Are you going to be around?
Yes, I'll be around. I'll have to head back to the airport about 5-ish, so I'll be around for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I'll just hang out on the side, so if you want to come talk to me.
I understand one of the features from Sean told us about was after you've built the campaign, then periodically the system will reach out to people via email.
Yes.
Or maybe a
the-
reminder?
Yeah, don't get into, I didn't want to get into too much of that. Yeah, so the email goes out up to 4 times over 35 days. So that's a big advantage over a letter writing campaign where it's a one-shot deal. You're going to make sure everyone who intends to sponsor will sponsor. So
That's fully all automated?
it's all automated. It's taken care of. And once they sponsor, they don't get any more letters. What they actually do is they get 2 thank you notes and 100% tax deductible receipt that comes from our nonprofit partner. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I think it'd be important for some of you to, if you're interested, to talk with some of those who are using it. It is absolutely as simple as can be, and as they shared with you, I mean, 1/3 of our schools, you guys have raised $150,000, and it's easy opportunity. So check into that. That money is between you and ETeam sponsor. What they give us is they buy some of our refreshments. That's all our office gets. So there's always this concern about what's the office getting. That's what we get. They're paying for some of our snacks that we have at our in-service and our commission meeting. So, man, it's a great opportunity. They're great people to work with. And when Sean presented back at Natica in June, it was amazing, all the people in the room that they've actually impacted at that national conference. So really check into it. Okay, there are breakout sessions now. I believe what we have at 3:45 are your sports-specific meetings with sports committee people. Carol has signs in the hallway as to where those meetings are. So we'll see you guys back in here at about 4:45, 4:50. So enjoy your time with your sports committee members. Jeremy, did he meet you? Did you talk with David? Okay, but he still wants you. Oh, okay. Right. Hey, we're trying to get one more opportunity. How are you? Margo. Darren, how are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Sorry, Margo, what was that?
One more opportunity management.
Yeah, I'm in whenever. Yes. Yeah, just want to hear. Sure. Well, thanks.
Sure. So,
I think we just signed
So the baseball committee, we can meet in this corner.
Clearly he knows twice my sense on that.
great. Have you met Jim Jackson?
I did meet Jim Jackson. I met Carol. I was about to introduce myself to Tracy. Other names. I'm trying to keep names.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Thanks for putting all this together.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, we're just
Committee in this corner. Over here.
Nice to meet you. I'll see you around again.
absolutely.
Thank you for chatting.
Bye.
What you guys?
Figuring out what my footprint
She is glad to give up some of the responsibilities. Yeah.
everybody has to sidebar. I don't know.
You guys have already been great help for 2 weeks, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
in here to talk to Martha? Or?
The bug in your ear.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Absolutely.
Oh, I think I ever made that.
Hey, you have.
Have I?
Softball championship.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you by any chance
I have a breakfast appointment at 7:45.
Is there any time
Tomorrow.
before those sessions? Before, I guess, 9:30. Or even.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we could just move.
We gotta be able to.
Oh, we'll take one.
But there's no.
Okay, so why don't
There's nothing hooked up.
we get Tracy's
We'll probably put it into there.
Father Rogers.
or the other? Yeah, let's do that. And I'll let Duncan take care of getting Keith or speaker carry taking care of it. Yeah, so let's do it. Let's get Tracy started and we can meet.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah. We just
How's the young one?
I turned it on while
Crazy.
he was
She's
talking.
keeping you busy?
Remember?
Yeah. It's crazy.
And there was a video playing.
Good
in the
thing.
background, one of your videos.
Like she comes to work with me for like an hour.
So we would just plug that into here.
So
I don't know if you want to
used
see
to
it
like
now.
sharing me, you know, like because I would go and do a trip.
Yeah, there's
one. She's like, no, it's not. What are you doing? Like she's got to get in between. Like she'll come in between me and that. Yeah, she's protective of it. So, but it's fine. I mean, it's just one of those that.
Absolutely. That's part of life.
Yeah.
That's
She's getting used to it.
good. All right. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're doing some stuff anymore. Okay. No, that one that. I emailed her. Oh,
Hey, Don? Could you come over and explain what happened as far as the South's petition, or is that not, you're gonna wait on that, or? Ladies and gentlemen, the 61-year-old birthday today.
Equipment, facilities, events, organizing 410s, yeah.
a representative. Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just something I think we have to work on.
And no. Yeah.
And know that,
Yeah. We're not part of it.
yeah, that we don't have, I mean, we're just not.
But yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get that.
so, just mentioning that.
Okay.
So did you know that they were talking about policy and executive board meeting?
February 24th and 25th.
Yeah, so I saw that on the agenda,
In the region, Iraq, March 9th.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't know what that was.
I'm actually I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna send it out in October for the preseason and the crossover, just so I can, just thinking, why don't we just do it earlier? So I'm gonna do it earlier, so everybody knows who they're playing, they can put it on their schedule, let's see how this works, spring, so we'll do that in October. So, but I can't, I'm not gonna.
I don't know how to
Yeah, that's weird because we don't know the tactile. We can't say like, hey, like you guys